The galaxy was at peace, or at least that was the lie they told themselves. Ships flew between star systems. Trade routes were open. Great Council of 12 ruled over everything from the bright suns of the core worlds to the cold, forgotten edges of the outer rim. War was a memory. Fear was no longer useful. Then came the signal. It wasn't loud. It wasn't strong. It was a strange, soft pulse like a heartbeat lost in space. The signal came from nowhere. No star, no station, no ship. It just ... appeared. First, it was picked up by a listening post near the Chivon border. Then by the Androssian research station near the Black Nebula, and dozens more. Each time the signal was exactly the same, for pulses and silence. For more than nothing again. At first the Council dismissed it, perhaps a glitch, a dying probe, some lost artifact from an extinct race. But then something strange happened. Every time the signal was detected, nearby ships began to experience small failures. Lights flickered, engines slowed. Weapon systems rebooted on their own. By the 7th day, even the bravest fleet captains were refusing to enter the region. Where the signal was strongest, so the Council sent probes. Thousands of them. None came back. They sent scout ships next. Stealth vessels, fast and quiet. None came back. Then they sent a warship. Fully armed with backups standing by. 1 second it was there, the next second, gone. No debris, no escape pod. No call for help. Just silence, and the signal, still pulsing. Still waiting. Finally the Council decided to watch and wait. Maybe the signal would die on its own. Maybe it was just a space-time anomaly. But then, on the 10th day, the void opened. It didn't rip. It didn't explode. Like it simply stretched like. Space itself was tired and yawned. All sensors froze. All ships shut down. And then, through that quiet darkness, something began to move. It came out slowly at first. Like it had all the time in the world. One shape, long, sharp, covered in black. Armor it had no lights, no markings, no flags. But even without scanning, everyone knew this was no alien design. It was human, the bridge of the Council's flagship. Galaxis Supreme went silent. Admiral Threx of the Yulari clicked his claws nervously. Impossible, he whispered. Beside him, Ambassador Velen of the Zeltai gasped. Humans are extinct. They were wiped out over 1,000 years ago. This cannot be real, but it was. The ship, if one could even call it, that was massive, larger than any battleship in Council history. It moved without thrust, without sound, just gliding across space like a predator that didn't need to chase its prey. No transmissions, no beacons, no greetings. Just that same signal, still pulsing in the void. For beats, pause. For more, then silence. The Council ordered more ships to surround it. Dozens at first, then hundreds. Each one powered up shields and weapons, though no one dared fire. The humans were gone, yes. But their history was not forgotten. The wars of the First Contact, siege of the 12 Moons, the burning of Arkantis. Prime. Even the youngest cadet in the academy had heard the stories. Humans were chaos, brutal, smart, fast, unpredictable. They did not fight for territory. They did not fight for power. They fought to win, and they never forgot a grudge. That's what scared the Council the most. Because if this ship was real, if this was from Earth, then maybe Earth wasn't as dead as they believed. On the 2nd day, a group of Council scientists tried to scan the ship. Their equipment melted. Not overloaded. Melted. As if the ship rejected being watched. Then, on the 3rd day, a bold captain from the Takari fleet tried to send a drone aboard. Just a small device. Unarmed. Clean. Respectful. It disappeared before it touched the hull. The crew heard something strange through the drone's last. Feed. A voice. Not words. A whisper. And then, nothing. Council panic grew fast. Some wanted to flee. Some wanted to fire. Some wanted to pray. But before anyone could act, the ship moved again. It turned, not toward the fleets, not toward the Council homeworld. It turned toward the outer rim, toward space. That name sent fear into the room. The Varnak Empire had once been Earth's greatest enemy. They had claimed responsibility for the final strike on Earth. They had celebrated the death of humanity. Now they were silent, very silent, because the moment the human ship moved toward them, every Varnak ship across the galaxy turned around and ran. Some jumped into hyperspace without orders. Some powered down and pretended to be dead. Others tried to send messages to the Council. "Help us. It's coming," thought they. Were gone. One high-ranking Varnak admiral simply recorded himself saying, "I was just a child. I didn't do it. Please, tell them I didn't do it." The human ship ignored them all. It kept moving slow, focused, not caring who watched or who begged. That's when Council agents finally discovered something else. The ship's designation was written deep inside the signal itself, hidden in the fourth layer of code. 2 words. Terra Vengeance. A name. A mission. A weapon. Then came the log. A data burst sent once. Received once, only by the main Council server. It contained one file. A message, no video, just voice. And the voice was old, human, male, deep and tired. "This is Admiral Rourke, of Earth Defense Command," it said. "If you are receiving this, then Protocol Ashes has begun. No diplomacy. No surrender. No forgiveness. You attacked Earth. You erased our cities. You murdered our children. We do not forget. Terra Vengeance will find you, one by one, system by system. This is not a war. This is punishment." And with that, the voice ended. No reply came. No follow, dash up, just silence. The Council held an emergency meeting. Some argued to attack. Others warned that the ship hadn't attacked. First, it had only defended itself. A few wise ones said, "Let it pass. Let it finish what it started." But fear makes leaders foolish, so they made a plan. 10 fleets, 40 nations, 80,000 ships. Their goal? Stop the human battleship before it reached Varnak space. The fleets gathered near the Marnock border, forming the largest defense line the galaxy had seen in 5 centuries. They waited and waited, and then it arrived. No fanfare. No tricks. No hiding. It came out of the void like a ghost walking through a battlefield. All ships locked on missiles. "We're ready. Cannons hot." Fighters launched. Admiral Grohl of the Drax Command gave the order. "All ships fire." Nothing happened. The buttons didn't respond. The weapons didn't fire. Then the lights dimmed and the stars vanished. Not blocked, gone. And in that total darkness, human ship glowed. Not with energy, but with anger. One last message came through. It echoed across every ship, every station, every planet. "Just for words you heard Earth, remember." And then, one by one, the fleets went silent. Not destroyed, just turned off. Their AI shut down. Engines froze. Inside their bridges, the crew could only watch as Terra Vengeance passed by, quiet, unstoppable, and still listening for that old, forgotten signal. For pulses, pause. For more, then silence. And in that silence, the galaxy began to remember. Earth was not dead. Earth had waited, and now Earth was moving. The ship had passed the fleet wall like it didn't even notice. Thousands of warships, millions of soldiers. No resistance. Terra Vengeance didn't slow down. It didn't fire. Didn't need to. It was not a ship built for war. It was built for judgment, and now it was heading deeper into the outer rim, toward Varnak space. The Varnak Empire was quiet. Too quiet. No communication, no movement, no defense lines. Nothing. It was as if they had vanished or were hiding in the dark, hoping the ship would miss them. But the ship was not looking. It was remembering. Inside the council chambers, panic spread like fire. How can one ship do this? Asked Chancellor Velen. It's not just the ship, said Commander Rena from the Halkan Republic. It's what it means. Humans survived. If Earth is still alive. A silence followed her words. No one wanted to say what they were. All thinking, what if this ship is just the beginning? But someone had to find answers, so the council called in the best. A small team of deep space xenotech researchers. People who had spent their lives studying human ruins, legends, and tech. Their leader, Dr. Lyra Seon, was one of the only beings who believed Earth had never truly fallen. She stood inside the council's war room, staring at the last image of the ship. "That's no AI-controlled relic," she said. "That's a living war mind. Something is guiding it. A human," asked a general. "Maybe," she said. "Or something worse." They sent her team on a fast stealth cruiser to follow Terra Vengeance. No one expected them to come back, but within one day, they did, and what they brought was terrifying. "We got inside the outer signal," said Lyra, her face pale. Just for a few seconds, she plugged in a small data box. The room filled with low vibrations. A sound, a pulse, for beats. Pause, for more. Then silence. Everyone went still. "That signal," Lyra said slowly, "is not just a beacon." Shh. Turned up the volume. Under the surface of the signal, hidden deep, was a voice, faint, human, a woman's voice, repeating a sentence. "You killed my children. You burned my home. You forgot our name. But we never forgot yours." Everyone in the room felt cold. "It's a memory," Lyra whispered. "The ship's memory. It's angry." Back on Terra Vengeance, the ship kept moving, silent. Alone, inside, deep beneath its armor, old machines worked. Not for power or navigation, but for preservation. There were no crew members walking the halls, but there had been. In the lowest part of the ship, past sealed blast doors, was a cryo chamber, and inside there were 13 pods. Only one still worked. The others were broken, cracked, empty. The one that remained was dark, covered in frost, and inside it, someone waited. Someone human, but not like before. Her name was written on the outside of the pod. Commander Alara Juno, Earth Defense Black Division. She had been sleeping for centuries, frozen in time, waiting for the ship to reach its target. Waiting for Earth's revenge to wake her up. The ship pulsed softly now, its path clear. It had entered Varnock space, the Varnock homeworld Directions 7. Looked like a fortress. It had 20 space stations orbiting it, 30 planetary shields, 45 defense grids, but not one of them activated. They had been turned off. Not by the ship, by the Varnock themselves, because the moment Terra Vengeance crossed into their system, they sent one final message to the galaxy, to all who can hear. We, the Varnock High Lords, surrender. We surrender not to force, not to power, but to fear. We fought Earth long ago. We struck them first. We thought they were weak, broken. We were wrong. They didn't die. They just waited. The message ended, and so did the Varnock Empire. They powered down their fleets. They shut off their shields. They locked their cities. They left their fate in the hands of the Ghost. It's a ship from Earth. And the ship came. It entered the system like a shadow swallowing the city. But it didn't fire. It didn't destroy. Instead, it watched, and from deep within the ship, the last cryopod lit up. Commander Alara Juno opened her eyes. The glass lifted with a hiss. Cold fog spilled into the chamber. She sat up slowly, a metal arm, a scar on her neck, eyes that glowed faintly. She was human, but she had been changed, modified, upgraded, rebuilt. Terra Vengeance had kept her alive, protected her, trained her, and while she slept, she stood barefoot on the steel floor and spoke only one word: target. Screen blinked on in front of her. A map, Varnock space dot coordinates highlighted. Alara studied them, then shook her head. "No," she whispered. "Not yet." She walked to the command deck, bare but clean, in the center. A throne-like seat waited. She sat. The ship seemed to breathe, as if it knew she was awake again, as if it had missed her. She looked at the stars. "We were never the monsters," she said softly. "But you made us into one." Her voice grew colder. "Now, you'll remember what you created." She pressed one button, and the entire Varnak system went dark. No ships, no comes. No power, just silence. Not a single shot was fired, and the humans had made their message clear. This was just the beginning. Back in the council, fear turned to madness. Fleets defected. Systems shut down. Alliances broke. Half the member worlds wanted to beg Earth for forgiveness. The other half wanted to prepare for war, but none of them knew where. Earth was no planet named Earth existed on any current star map. No wormhole. No signal. No trace. And then, one more signal arrived. It wasn't from Terra Vengeance. It was from a deep part of space, a dead system. No stars. The message was brief, and it said only this: humanity never left. We're watching. Now we rise. And across the galaxy, stars began to blink out. One by one, the void was growing again, and something else was coming with it. Ilar Juno stood on the deck of Terra Vengeance, staring into the blackness outside the view window. Stars flickered far away, but many had already gone dark. Not because they died, but because someone was turning them off. Ilara placed her hand on the ship's core console. The surface pulsed beneath her fingers. It wasn't metal anymore. Not exactly. It had changed. It felt warm, like skin. This ship wasn't just a machine. It was alive, and it was waiting for her command. Outside, the dead silence of Varnak space continued. No alarms, no defense, no sound. The planet below had not been destroyed, but it had been completely disabled. Cities without power, satellites offline, armies locked inside bunkers, unable to move. All done without firing a single shot. The Council watched from far away, helpless. No one dared send more ships. The last fleet that tried had vanished without trace. Inside council chambers, arguments raged. They didn't kill the Varnak, one leader shouted. They could have, but they didn't. They could, another replied. And they still might. What if that ship is only the first? Earth is gone. How can there be more? That question haunted everyone because it wasn't just about the ship anymore. The last signal humanity never left had not come from Terra.
The what?
Vengeance. It had come from a different place. A system known only to ancient star charts. A dark sector forgotten, forbidden. It was called Zeta Void 12. No one lived there. No one went there. Because long ago, a warning had been placed on every star map. No signal, no return, no entry. Now that same system was sending messages. And every hour, more stars near it were disappearing. Council scouts were afraid to go near. Some ships sent to explore that region had returned, changed crew. Members aged 10 years in one day. Some spoke human languages they never learned. One pilot came back, blind, bleeding, and whispering one phrase over and over. The Watchers are awake? Inside Terra Vengeance, Alara activated a small device embedded in her palm. A soft blue light flickered, and a hologram of an old man appeared. "Hello, Commander," it said. Alara nodded. Status report. The hologram was only a recording, but it felt real. It was Admiral Rourke, her former commander, her mentor, her family. He was dead now, centuries ago. But his final words were left behind. The moment Varnak space falls. "Silent," he said, "you must begin phase 2. Do not hesitate. Do not listen to the Council. Do not trust the galaxy. Earth trusted once, and Earth paid in blood." The image blinked out. Alara's expression hardened. She turned to the control panel. Her voice calm. Phase 2. Authorization black. Unlock Terragate. A deep vibration shook the ship. Panels shifted. Engines changed form. The ship's core began to glow. Outside, space twisted. A portal massive black ancient began too. Open, not a wormhole, not a jump gate. This was something older, built by humans, or something even older than them. The Terragate. For over 1,000 years, It had been buried, hidden inside the ship. Waiting now, it opened, and something answered from the other side. A signal, clear, cold. Human. This is Earth Command. We. See you, Terra Vengeance. Welcome home. Ilara closed her eyes for a moment. She hadn't heard Earth's voice in centuries, and now it was back. Route locked, the ship announced. Destination, Earth Cornu, Sol Command.
What?
Added warning, foreign observer detected. Ilara's eyes narrowed. Show me. A screen lit up. A tiny probe. Floating behind the ship, not Council, not Varnock. Something else alien, far across space, in a hidden part of the galaxy. The Shapers watched. They were old. So old they no longer used names. They had ruled the galaxy long before the Council, before the Varnock, before even the first stars cooled, and they knew the one truth that no one else remembered. Humanity was not natural. The Shapers had created thousands of species, over millions of years. They tested minds, emotions, aggression, but one project had failed. One species had grown too fast, adapted too well, broke their chains, and vanished into the stars. That species was human, and now they were coming back. The Shapers had watched. Silently as Terra Vengeance appeared, they had hoped it was only a weapon. Only one now, they knew. The gate had opened, Earth had returned, and the Shapers were afraid. One turned to the others and spoke for the first. Time in 1,000 years, we made a mistake. Another replied, then we must unmake it. They activated a beacon, one not used since the birth of stars. It sent a message across the universe, all eyes to Earth. The forgotten enemy lives. Back inside Terra Vengeance, Ilara stepped through. The shimmering gate, her ship passed into the unknown. Through storms of light, through walls of silence and then stars. A new system. Earth system. But it wasn't the same as before. The sun burned brighter.
It is.
Planets rotated in silence. And floating. Above a dark, metal-covered planet was a fleet, not one ship. Not 10,000 black ships. Silent, motionless, all of them marked with the same symbol. A broken Earth surrounded by fire. Terra Vengeance moved into formation. No alarms. No weapons. Just a voice. Welcome home, Commander Juno. Project Requital is ready? Ilara took a deep breath. I've waited long enough, she said. And across the stars, the galaxy held its breath. Because the humans had not only survived, they had prepared, and now the reckoning would begin. The Earth they remembered was gone. The Earth Ilara saw through Terra Vengeance's main window was not green. It was not blue, was not alive. It was armored. The entire planet had been covered in dark titanium plates, deep shield generators, rotating cannon rings, and strange energy structures that pulsed like giant hearts. The oceans were gone. The clouds were gone. The planet had been turned into a fortress. No light escaped its surface. Only the fire-red glow of fusion reactors blinked from beneath the armor. Ilara had returned home. But it did not feel like home anymore. And yet, the voice in her head was familiar. Welcome to Earth Core, it repeated. You are now inside Sol Fortress Zone Alpha. No unauthorized beings allowed beyond this point. Stand by for identity scan. She stood silently. As beams of light passed over her body, the scan ended with a single word. Confirmed. Commander Ilara, Juno. Rank. Black Division. Status. Primary asset. The gate behind her shut. Terra Vengeance slowly moved into dock. Magnetic arms locked it into place. Then the silence deepened. Ilara looked at the hundreds of warships floating in space nearby. Most of them had no windows, no signs of life. Some were shaped like wings, some like spears, some like giant boxes of armor with no engines visible. All of them were painted with the same phrase, Project Requital. She had only heard that name once before, long ago when Earth had been attacked, when their cities had been burned, when the Council and Varnock and others had laughed at humanity's final breath. In those final days, Earth scientists, generals, and leaders met underground. They did not build an army. They built a plan. A final answer. If they ever returned, they called it requital. A reckoning. Alara stepped out of the ship into the docking bay. The air was thick, but not toxic. Machines moved in silence, like insects, made of steel. Artificial gravity kept her feet steady, but she could feel the vibration under her boots. The planet was alive. Waiting, a hologram appeared beside her. This time it wasn't a recording. It was live. A man stood in front of her, dressed in black armor. A glowing emblem on his chest. His face was young, but his eyes were old. Very old, Alara, he said calmly. You look awake. Should be, she said. You left. Me sleeping long enough. Time was needed, the man replied. We couldn't return too early. The galaxy wasn't ready, and now it is. The man's smile was small and cold. No, but we are. He turned and began walking. Alara followed as they moved deeper into the base. She saw things she could barely understand. Human soldiers. Their bodies fused with tech, trained in silence. Some had no eyes. Some had extra arms. All of them moved in perfect sync in a massive chamber. She saw weapons unlike anything from the past, cannons made of black holes, drones with living skin, energy blades humming with red plasma. What did we become? She whispered. The man turned. We became what they feared. He led her to a room filled with large data crystals. One hovered and began to play. Images filled the air. Cities burning. Earth falling. Council fleets laughing. Varnock leaders celebrating. And then, silence, followed by darkness. And then, Earth's slow return. One ship first, then two. Then thousands grown in secret vaults, designed in underground machines, hidden from the stars, trained by simulations. Waiting. What is the goal now? Alara asked. The man looked her in the eyes. Phase 3? She frowned. But Phase 2 just started. Phase 2 was for the galaxy to see us again, to remember their crimes, to fear. He pointed to the star map. One system was blinking red. The system of the Shapers. They are watching, he said. They are the ones behind everything. They built the others, controlled the wars, played with life. They made the Council. Varnock even tried to guide Earth. Lara stared at the blinking system. The Shapers, she whispered. They were real. The man nodded. They feared us. They called us a mistake. But we are not their mistake. He leaned closer. Are their end. He raised his hand, and the room went dark. A giant gate opened at the far end of space, and from it, one by one, the other human ships began to move. Not just warships, world ships, carriers, colony arcs, long lost, fleets, and something bigger, something sleeping under Earth's crust began to rise. A massive, circular object, wider than a moon, covered in dark panels and strange runes. Alara gasped. What is that? The man answered softly. That is Project Omega, the final key. The ship Earth built using Shaper technology after we captured one of their fallen vessels. Her eyes widened. You used their own tools against them? We didn't just use them, he said. We improved them. Alara looked at the growing fleet. The stars outside had begun to dim again. The void was spreading. Somewhere the Shapers would feel this move. They'll come, she said. The man nodded. That's the point. He turned away. No mistake, Alara. We won't be the ones who start this war. He paused. But we will be the ones who end it. Far across the stars, the Shapers felt the ripple. Their probes returned fragments, as their spies sent final messages, then silence. Oldest of them gathered in their dark chamber. Floating above a dying star, the humans have moved, one said. They have activated Omega, said another. A third, older voice added, "They found the forbidden code, the one we buried before time." They looked at each other, no eyes, no faces, only glowing forms of pure knowledge. One finally spoke what none wanted to say. "We must act. We must erase Earth. Completely, now, forever." And they began. Across the galaxy, ancient weapons activated. Systems locked by, time opened. The war the galaxy never knew was coming had already begun. The first attack came without warning. One moment, Earth's fleet was assembling outside the Terra Gate. The next, the stars themselves exploded. Not just one, 12 stars, 12 entire solar systems destroyed in a single, synchronized flash. No. Known weapon could do that, but the Shapers weren't known. They had never needed to act openly. Until now, inside Earth core alarms blared. Even Project Omega, buried beneath Earth's armor plates, groaned as it restructured its shields. Alara ran toward the command nexus, where the man General Kale was already studying the incoming data. 12 stars gone, he said calmly. No warning, no radiation. Instant collapse. Lara stared at the screen. "It's them." Kale nodded. "Shapers have made their first move. And the Council? Silent. Scared. Watching. Useless." He pointed at a second screen. "But others are not staying quiet." Fleets from nearby alien systems had begun to panic. Some jumped into deep space to hide. Some tried to send signals to Earth. Others tried to contact the Shapers, begging for mercy. None got a reply, because the Shapers weren't listening anymore. They were coming from the edge of known space. Ancient structures began to open, giant black rings that had not moved in a million years. They spun with unnatural speed, creating tunnels through space. And from those tunnels came them Shaper vessels, long, thin, almost invisible, shimmering like glass. They didn't fly like normal ships. They swam through space like snakes in dark water. Their numbers were impossible to count. But worse, they brought gravity with them. Everywhere they passed, planets shook. Tides rose. Moons cracked, and when they reached the first human outpost station, 9, they didn't fire weapons. They just folded space. The station collapsed in on itself in a second. No explosion. No survivors. It had been turned into a memory. Back on Earth, Alara stood still as new reports flooded in. 6 human outposts destroyed, 3 fleets gone. And yet, no fear on her face, just cold focus. "They're fast," she said. "They're desperate," Kale replied. "And they think we'll panic. We won't." "No." Kale turned to the command display. "Time to show them what we've built." Raised his hand. "Activate Ghost Protocol." Far across space, 5 hidden human colonies came online. Not war colonies, trap colonies, designed to appear weak, empty cities, flickering signals. No defense. Shaper scouts approached quickly, and the moment they touched the surface, the colonies detonated, not with fire, with data, massive code waves and readable. Unstoppable crashed into the Shaper ships, corrupting their language cores. Disabling their mental link, the first wave of Shaper ships shut down mid-space, spinning. Lifelessly, Ilara smiled. "We studied their minds," she said. "We turned their own code into poison." Kale nodded. "Now, they know we're not animals anymore." But Earth wasn't finished. He tapped a control. From the dark side of the moon, the silencer launched. It wasn't a normal weapon. It had no crew. No bridge, just one function. Silent systems within 10 light years. Where it passed, all energy died. All signals stopped. No ship could communicate. No AI could think. The Shaper fleets near Sector 3 vanished into black, and Earth finally sent its first message to the galaxy. It wasn't broadcast on radio. It wasn't even heard by machines. It was felt a wave of thought, of rage, of memory. Across millions of minds, one phrase echoed, "You tried to erase us. Now feel what you created." And then Earth's second fleet launched. This one didn't hide. It didn't move slow. It moved like fire across paper. Every human warship was upgraded with new armor made from recovered Shaper wreckage. Weapons that twisted light, cannons that folded time in a single shot, and at the center of the fleet, Project Omega moved for the first time. It drifted through space like a planet torn from its orbit. Its shields bent light. Its engines didn't burn, they whispered. Inside Omega, the most powerful human minds were linked together, forming a command core that didn't need orders. It knew what to do. It had been waiting since Earth's fall. Now, it would remind the galaxy why humanity had been feared, far away. Deep inside the Shaper network, chaos spread. They've learned, one Shaper said. Its voice panicked. They've evolved, another replied. They used our silence against us. They should not be able to control time weapons. They do now. The oldest Shaper spoke at last. I warned you, it said. We made them too well. We pushed too far. Now Earth remembers. The others asked, what do we do? There was only one answer left. We finished the extinction. No mercy, no delay. And the Shapers activated the last protocol, a black star, an artificial supernova, a weapon that would consume everything in its path. They pointed it at Earth, but Earth was watching, back in command. Ilara read the incoming scan. She said just 3 words. They lit the star. Kale's expression didn't change. Then let's show them our sun. He tapped one last button. Deep inside Project Omega, the device began to spin. It had no name. Only one purpose: to eat what the enemy tried to destroy. A star killer that fed on dying suns. They aimed it at the black star and fired. The two powers met in the middle of space, and the galaxy saw a light it had never seen before. 2 weapons. From 2 civilizations, locked in a war that had begun before most stars were born, and only one would survive. The light from the exploding stars faded. Across the galaxy, for one terrifying second, everything stopped. No communication, no time, no gravity, just stillness. And then, Earth's weapon finished its work. The black star, the Shaper's most powerful. Weapon was gone. Not exploded, not damaged. Erased. The galaxy stared in silence. Even the Shapers had no words. They had tried to destroy Earth with their strongest creation. And Earth had eaten it like it was fuel. Inside Project Omega, the control cores glowed brighter than ever. New systems came online. Weapons that had never been tested before unlocked. But Earth didn't fire. Not yet, because Earth had another plan. It was time to speak. A signal went out, not in radio, not in light, but in something deeper. A psychic wave, message sent through. Minds, not machines. Billions of beings across thousands of worlds froze as the voice entered there. Thoughts, not painful, not angry, just calm. We are humanity. We were broken. You watched. We were silent. You laughed. Now we speak. The message spread everywhere, to the Council, to the Outer Rim, even to worlds that had never met a human before. And Earth showed them what had happened. Real memories. Real images, cities burning, children crying. Earth collapsing while the rest of the galaxy turned its eyes away. Then, it's darkness. And then, the return. The training, the rebuilding. The weapons. The ships. The secrets. The pain. The message continued. We did not come to rule. We came to survive. But survival means strength, and strength means choices. Then the voice changed. Not one voice now. Many voices. Men, women, old, young. Some clear. Some damaged, but all human. We offer one choice. Stand with us, or stand in our way. Then the signal ended. The galaxy reacted instantly. Some fell to their knees in fear. Some began to cheer, outing Earth's name. Some ran, but most just stayed quiet, because deep inside them, they knew the truth. The age of the Council was ending. The age of Earth had returned in Council space. The 12 leaders gathered for the final emergency session. None of them looked confident anymore there. Fleets were useless, their alliances broken. Their enemies had stopped fearing them, and now Earth was watching. "We must respond," said Chancellor Velen. "With what?" Another snapped. "A speech? We have nothing left. They control half the known systems already. Then we beg. No, we submit." Silence followed those words. Then someone said quietly, "We don't even know where Earth was all this time." They turned to the oldest alien in the room, a historian named Yaron. He looked down, his voice low. "They never left," he said. "They just hid. Not in space, but in the void itself." "The void?" someone asked. "Yes," Yaron whispered. "Where light doesn't shine. Where sensors fail. Where reality is thin." Earth learned to live in that place. He looked at them all. That's why we never saw them coming. Inside Terra Vengeance, Ilara watched the galaxy react. Her eyes were calm, her body still. She knew the real war was close. The Shapers were not finished. They were quiet now. But Earth scans showed activity deep in the old Dark Zones regions. So ancient, even the stars had no names there. The Shapers were building something huge. Unknown, but fast. Kale joined her on the bridge. "We should strike now," he said. "No," Ilara said. "They're waiting for that." "Then what?" She stared at the map. "We let them strike first. We want them to overreach, because when they do, we close the gate." Kale frowned. "The Omega Gate?" She nodded. "Double quotes, we trap them in the dead zone, and we make sure they never return." Kale walked away to begin preparations. Ilara stayed. Knew this wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about ending something old. Ending the fear that had ruled the galaxy for too long. The fear of progress. Of change. Of human freedom. The Shapers had shaped everything. But they had not shaped Earth. And that was their mistake. In the dark regions of space, the Shapers gathered their last weapon. They called it the Mouth of Origin. It was not a ship. Not a machine. It was a living gate. Something born before stars. It could swallow galaxies. It could turn time backward. And it was hungry. They prepared to send it toward Earth. Not to destroy, but to erase. To unmake the planet and all its memory. But as they activated the final protocol, message appeared in their core systems. It was not sent by Earth. It was not sent at all. It simply was. A single line of text burned across their network. "We are the mistake you should have ended. And now, you are the lesson we will teach." Then all their screens went black, and Earth's final fleet launched. No more warnings, no more speeches. The reckoning was coming, and this time, no one would be safe. The Mouth of Origin opened. Across the black edge of the galaxy, space tore like paper. A massive hole formed in the void. Out, not natural. Not stable. It pulsed like a heart twisted with shadows. Around it, time bent. Light vanished. Even gravity seemed to scream. It wasn't just a weapon. It was alive. The Shapers stood before it in their silent fortress, a giant dark sphere floating above a dead star. They bowed before the mouth. It didn't speak, didn't move, but it hungered. They gave it a command. One final order. Erase. Earth. The mouth began to shift. Long black arms unfolded. The stars around it blinked out, and then it moved. Slow at first. Then faster. Then, faster than light, it headed for the Sol system. Back on Earth. Inside Project Omega, Ilara and General Kale watched it come. They had known the Shapers would use it. They had prepared. But even so, the sight of it shook them both. A hole in reality, growing larger by the second. "Do we fire?" Kale asked. "No," Ilara said. "Not yet. We don't have time." She turned. "We make time." She raised her arm and activated the Omega Core's deepest systems far beneath the Earth's surface. Ancient reactors ignited. Power surged through crystal engines and gravity coils. The Omega Gate began to open. Not like before. This time, It was real. The gate cracked the space around Earth like glass. Inside it, a tunnel formed not through space, but between dimensions. Lara spoke into the system. All fleets initiate void leap. Earth's ships didn't just jump, they vanished from this universe. The galaxy watched as Earth's fleets disappeared, council systems scrambled, pirate lords panicked, religious leaders declared, "It's divine." But no one knew the truth. Earth had left. Reality, they had moved into the in-between. A realm where light dies, sound never reaches. A realm where only those who had suffered, adapted, and changed could survive. Inside that void, Earth prepared its final plan. The mouth of origin arrived at Earth, but Earth was gone. The planet was empty. No fleets, no heat, no life, only silence. The mouth screamed. The force of its hunger cracked the moon, pulled Jupiter closer, set Saturn's rings on fire, but there was nothing to eat, and that was when Earth struck back. Project Omega emerged from the void behind the mouth, fully powered. No longer hiding, it fired a single beam, not of light, but of memory, a pulse of ancient human everything the Shapers had done encoded into weaponized thought. The mouth of origin froze. It had never felt fear until now. Inside its center, it saw not just images. It saw what Earth had become. It saw the 10,000 years of pain humanity had endured. The rage, the adaptation, the rebirth. It saw what Earth truly was, not just survivors, predators. The mouth began to collapse in on itself. But it was too late. Earth's fleets returned from the void, surrounding it. Ships bigger than cities. Weapons older than the stars. Humans no longer looked like humans. They had changed. Some had machine skin, some had Neuralink eyes, some had voices that echoed across dimensions. And all of them spoke one word: end. Project Omega fired again. This time, the shot didn't destroy. It sealed. The mouth was trapped inside a prison of light and memory. Frozen between moments of time, it could never feed again. Far away, Shapers felt it. Their ultimate weapon defeated. They screamed across their networks. Their systems turned red. Their oldest minds began to dissolve. And then Earth appeared, a single ship. Terra Vengeance. It arrived in front of the Shaper, homeworld, alone. No weapons raised, but the message it brought was final. You are not gods. You are not our creators. You are our shadow. And now, the light has returned. And with that, the gate opened again, but not from Earth. This time it opened from inside the Shaper world. They had been infiltrated. Long ago, before the war even began, Earth's last division, Black Echo, had been planted inside the Shapers. Core, invisible, silent, forgotten, and now activated. In one instant, Shaper Fortress collapsed. Their network burned. Their control vanished. No screams. No fire, just silence, and then nothing. The galaxy watched from afar. Earth did not demand surrender. Earth did not demand worship. Earth simply said, "We are back, and we remember." Some species pledged alliance. Some fell into chaos. Some hid, hoping Earth would forget them. But Earth remembered everything, and from now on, the galaxy would remember Earth. Not as a broken world, not as a myth, but as the force that watched and waited and won. The galaxy was quiet. Not the silence of peace, but the silence of fear. The Shapers were gone, erased from their throne. Their secrets burned, their structures fallen into nothing. Earth had done the impossible. They had defeated the ones who shaped life itself, and now every species waited. What would Earth do next? Would they destroy the Council? Would they conquer the stars? Would they demand control? But Earth didn't speak. Not yet. They were watching, judging, deciding, inside Project Omega. Alara Juno stood before the final panel. Behind her, Kale waited with thousands of other command leaders. Black Echo, Red Strain, Ghost Protocol. Hidden branches of Earth's forgotten power gathered for one last choice. The Omega Core pulsed, showing the entire galaxy, every system, every fleet, every colony. A voice echoed in the chamber. Not human, not machine. It was the combined mind of Earth's new intelligence, the result of thousands of years of pain and planning. Path 1, control. We take the stars. No more war, no more rebellion. Thought. 2, purge. We erase every race that once turned away from us. Path 3. The voice paused. Choice. Ilara stepped forward. She had waited for this. All her memories of Earth's fall, of the betrayal, of the screams, the fires, the silence burned inside her heart. And yet, she didn't speak of revenge. She spoke of truth. Let the galaxy. Remember what it did to us, she said, but let them also remember what we chose not to become. She pressed her hand to the console. Activate Path 3. The Omega Core blinked. A signal shot out across space this time, not a warning, but an invitation to every race, to every system, to every voice. Earth offers peace. But never forget, we are watching. Never again will we be the ones to burn. Across the stars, billions heard the message, and for the first time in history, they listened. Not because of fear, but because Earth had earned something new. One thought possible call and respect. In the ruins of the Council, surviving leaders met with Earth's envoys. No, their demands were made. Only one law. Never interfere with another world's right to rise. The Council agreed. Then they disbanded. A new alliance began. One not led by Earth, but guided by the memory of Earth's suffering. Trade opened. Fleets combined. Barriers fell. And slowly, the galaxy began to change. Not into a paradise, but into something stronger, smarter, fairer, because the shadow of Terra Vengeance still drifted across space and no one forgot. Years passed. Ilara Juno stood on the edge of Earth's restored surface, green trees rising again. Oceans returning. Cities built beneath the stars. Children laughed where soldiers once trained. Hope replaced anger, and yet, deep beneath the ground, Project Omega. Still, UMED. Prepared because peace is a gift, but it is never free. Kale joined. Her, older now, they still fear us, he said. They should, Ilara replied, but they also look to us. He smiled. We didn't just survive, we changed the galaxy. She nodded, but only because we remembered who we were. In the deepest part of space, where no star shines, a single spark blinked. Faint, but not dead. Something ancient. Stirred, not shaper. Not human. Older. Watching it had seen what Earth did, and it waited not for revenge, but for the next move. Because the game had changed, and now humanity was a player.